Ever feel like starting a business is the new climbing Mount Everest? Everyone's heard of it, but the real journey, kind of a mystery.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, today we're diving into a place trying to change that, the UAE,
Okay.
their mission, to become like the global entrepreneurship hub.
Ambitious. I like it.
Right, and we all know the UAE, they've got that reputation, luxury, opulence,
Right, right.
but we're going deeper, way beyond those headlines.
Love it. So what's our source material for today?
UAE Ministry of Economy's own website,
Uh-huh.
they lay out their whole game plan. It's fascinating stuff.
Oh, wow. Straight from the source. Bold move.
Exactly. We'll be sure to link it in the show notes so everyone can check it out.
Definitely do that.
Because by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand what's really driving this whole thing, what they're actually aiming for, and who knows, maybe even discover some, surprising advantages they're offering to entrepreneurs.
All right. I'm intrigued. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. So I was struck by something right off the bat on their website. It's like they have this really clear-eyed view of the future.
Oh, how so?
Well, come right out and say it. They know they can't just rely on oil forever, and it's like this declaration that entrepreneurship, that's their next chapter.
Interesting. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. Yeah. Not just
Yeah.
riding the oil wave.
Exactly. Not even a little bit.
Okay, so how are they doing that?
So they've got this thing called a 50 economic plan.
Catchy.
Right.
Yeah.
It covers 2021 to 2030. And what's fascinating is the focus. They're laser focused on specific outcomes.
What kind of outcomes are we talking about here? Give me the details.
So it's not just about more businesses, more. Their target is to be one of the top 3 countries on the Global Entrepreneurship Index.
Wow. Aim for the stars, why don't you? That's not messing around. Top 3, that's huge.
It's a big goal. And they've already hit the #1 spot twice, which is, no small feat in itself. But to be consistently in that top tier,
That's a whole other level of commitment. Absolutely.
for sure. So what are they actually doing to make that happen?
Yeah, rankings are one thing, but what's the substance behind them?
Right.
What's interesting is they're not just fixated on that one number. They're trying to build a genuinely supportive environment. Like, take venture capital availability, for example.
Okay, yeah, funding's crucial.
Essential. And the UAE, they've been actively working to improve their ranking in that area. And it's working. The World Economic Forum, they already rank the UAE 4th globally. That's incredible. So clearly they're doing something right to attract those investors.
It's like it's not just about starting a business, it's about having the resources to actually grow it, right?
Precisely.
Hmm.
And that brings us to one of their more...
program.
That's the one.
Yeah, I've seen the headlines, 5 to 10-year residency, bring your family, no sponsor needed.
It's a pretty enticing package, no doubt about it.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
Well, it's definitely a powerful incentive, right? Designed to attract top talent. But, and this is key, there's nuance here. The ministry's website, it makes it clear this isn't just a free-for-all. They're specifically looking for experienced entrepreneurs.
So experience is key here.
Absolutely. They're being very deliberate with their language. This isn't just about filling a quota of residents.
So what are we talking about here? Specific industry experience? Or is it more about having a proven track record?
That's where it gets even more interesting. It seems like they're looking for people who've actually walked the walk.
Not just talk the talk.
Exactly. People who bring expertise, networks, a track record of success. They're not explicitly saying what that proven track record has to be.
A little bit mysterious, huh?
Just a bit. But it definitely indicates the kind of entrepreneur they're hoping to attract. This is about contributing, not just residing.
Adding value to their ecosystem, not just adding more businesses for the sake of it.
Exactly. They've got a plan, and they're sticking to it.
So they're aiming high with who they want to attract. Makes sense. But let's say, you're an entrepreneur, you check all the boxes, you've got the experience, you're ready to go. What's it actually like setting up shop in the UAE? Because that can be, let's face it, a nightmare in some places.
Yeah, it can be a real headache.
Bureaucracy, paperwork, ugh.
Exactly. But this is where the UAE, it seems like they've really done their homework.
Oh.
They've looked at those pain points, the things that make starting a business so difficult, and they've really tried to streamline the whole process.
Okay, so less red tape, more getting things done.
Precisely. For example, they've made business registration much simpler. Getting licenses and permits, it's much easier now. And overall, they've created a much more transparent regulatory environment. You're not left in the dark wondering what you need to do or who you need to talk to.
That's huge. I know for me that would be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Just knowing what to expect, what the rules are.
Absolutely. And it gets even better. They've got this online platform. It's called Basher, and you can actually set up your entire business digitally.
Wait, hold on. Fully digital. As in, no more running around government offices collecting stamps.
That seems to be the goal.
Wow. That alone would be a game changer for a lot of entrepreneurs.
I think so. But of course, setting up is one thing, right? What about the support once you're up and running?
Right, because the real challenge is they usually come after launch day.
Exactly. And the UAE, they've thought about that too. They've put a lot of resources into creating what they call a supportive ecosystem. This includes things like free zones.
Okay, free zones, for our listeners who might not be familiar with that term.
Right. So basically, these are special economic zones within the UAE. Businesses operating within these zones get unique advantages.
Like what kind of an advantage?
We're talking tax breaks, 100% foreign ownership, and access to like world-class infrastructure.
So it's almost like a business utopia within the country.
It's definitely designed to be attractive. The goal is to bring in that foreign investment and to help specific sectors really take off.
Smart. So, okay, it all sounds pretty enticing so far. But even with a smooth setup and a supportive environment, I mean, funding, that's the lifeblood of any business, right?
Absolutely. Especially
boy.
for startups.
Exactly. So what does the UAE offer on that front?
This is another area where their strategic thinking really shines through. They've been actively courting venture capital and angel investors, and not just locally, but from all over the world.
They're thinking globally.
They know to be a truly global hub, you've got to tap into global capital.
It's not just about relying on local investment. It's about becoming a magnet for funding from everywhere.
Exactly. And it seems to be working. Remember we talked about their venture capital availability ranking earlier?
Yeah, fourth globally, if I recall correctly.
Right. That didn't happen by accident. They've been very deliberate about making themselves an attractive destination for those investors.
Okay, but it's not just about attracting capital in general, right? It's got to reach the right businesses, the ones with real potential.
Absolutely. And they've been proactive about that too.
In what way?
Well, they've set up these government-backed funds and initiatives specifically to support startups and SMEs.
Makes sense. So are these initiatives focused on any particular sectors or?
They definitely seem to be prioritizing sectors they see as key growth areas. We're talking tech, renewable energy, biotech, things like that. They're placing calculated bets on the industries of the future.
It's like they're saying, this is where we think the world is headed and we want to be at the forefront.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but, all of this, the infrastructure, the funding, it means nothing without the right people, right?
It's all about the people.
Exactly. So the question is, do they have that genuine entrepreneurial spirit within the UAE itself?
Because you can't just import that. It's got to be there organically.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting. The UAE's history, it actually plays a big part in their current ambitions.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. This is a country that was basically built from scratch in just a few decades.
Yeah, it's incredible. From the desert to a global powerhouse that fast.
Right. And that whole spirit of transformation, turning challenges into opportunities, it's ingrained in their culture.
It's in their DNA.
Exactly. And you see it everywhere. Their architecture, their approach to business. Entrepreneurship, it's not just a buzzword there, it's woven into the fabric of their society.
So it's not just a top-down thing. There's a genuine bottom-up drive as well.
It really seems that way, and that's a powerful combination. Of course, no system is perfect. Even with all this, the UAE does face challenges.
Oh, for sure. So what are some of the hurdles that entrepreneurs might face there?
Well, one of the biggest ones, and this might sound ironic, is access to talent.
Wait, really? I would have thought with the Golden Visa program and all the other incentives, they'd have, like, a surplus of skilled workers.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
The Golden Visa, it's attracting those experienced entrepreneurs, but there's still a shortage of skilled labor in certain sectors, especially in those specialized technical fields.
So it's like a double-edged sword. They're attracting the best, but that creates more competition for the best talent.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
So how are they dealing with that?
Well, they're tackling it head-on through education and skills development. They're investing heavily in STEM fields, partnering with top universities around the world, and they're creating a pipeline of skilled workers through vocational training programs.
So they're not just importing talent, they're actively cultivating it from within.
Which makes sense, right? If you want to build a self-sustaining ecosystem, you can't just rely on bringing people in from elsewhere. You have to invest in your own people.
It's a long-term play, but it's a smart one.
Absolutely. They're playing the long game, which, if you think about it, has been a recurring theme here. But with all this ambition, all this investment, it begs the question, will it actually work?
Right. Can the UAE really pull this off? Can they really become the global hub for entrepreneurship?
That's what we'll explore in part 3 of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've seen the playbook, right? The ambition, the strategy, this whole commitment to reshaping their economy.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Not at all. So now for the big question, part 3. What if they actually pull it off? What happens if the UAE actually becomes the go-to spot for entrepreneurs globally?
It's a fascinating thought experiment because it wouldn't just be like a regional shift,
Right.
This could really shake things up globally for entrepreneurship.
Right, because right now there are these like centers of gravity.
Exactly. Silicon Valley, for example.
Exactly. And the UAE is trying to create that same level of pull, but on a much larger scale.
And more globally, I think.
More globally, how so?
Well, just look at where they are geographically. They're at this crossroads of East and West.
Right, a natural hub.
A natural hub for trade, for collaboration. They're in a unique position to connect markets that, frankly, sometimes don't play so well together.
So they're building on this legacy of being a connector, but now with this whole entrepreneurship layer on top of it.
Exactly. So it's not just about starting a business. It's about having access to, potentially, the entire world.
It's about connection.
It really is.
Yeah.
And if they can pull this off, right, if they actually manage to attract entrepreneurs and investors from all over the world, the potential is huge.
Talk about a melting pot of ideas.
Exactly. This mix of backgrounds, experiences, perspectives. I mean, can you imagine the innovation that could come out of that?
It's like they're trying to create a global incubator for the future.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And, we've talked a lot about the economic impact, obviously.
Right, right.
But this also feels like it has the potential to create some real, tangible change in the world.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something they seem to be really conscious of, too.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the sectors they're emphasizing, things like renewable energy, sustainable technology, even space exploration.
Okay, yeah.
Those are fields with global implications.
For sure. Big challenges, big opportunities.
Exactly. So by trying to bring the best and brightest together to tackle these huge problems,
They're positioning themselves to be leaders.
leaders not just in business, but in actually shaping a better future for everybody.
I mean, it's one thing to say you want to make a difference, right? But to align your whole economic strategy with it, that's a whole other level.
It really is. And that's honestly what makes the UAE so fascinating to watch.
It's a grand experiment.
It really is. And they're going all in. They're not just chasing profits here. They're trying to redefine what it means to be a global leader and whether they succeed or not.
Because who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, exactly. But their commitment to this, to entrepreneurship as a driver of progress, it's a good reminder for all of us.
What do you mean?
That bold ambition, when you back it up with real strategic action, it has the power to completely change things. Not just economies, but societies, too.
And that's inspiring. Whether you're an entrepreneur yourself, an investor, or just someone who wants to see positive change in the world, it's an interesting case study, to say the least.
Definitely keeps things interesting.
It really does. So there you have it, folks. The UAE's entrepreneurial ecosystem. From government initiatives to cultural shifts, it's pretty amazing to see how they're pulling out all the stops to achieve their goals.
Definitely a unique approach.
It really is. But that's it for us this week. We want to hear from you. What do you think about the UAE's grand experiment? Head over to our website, hit us up on social media. Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
And of course, be sure to check out the UAE Ministry of Economy's website. We've got it linked in the show notes. It's a treasure trove of information. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.